The Solar PV Cast by Shift, a podcast exploring solar energy and the role it plays in improving our lives and our planet. Here's your host, Chris Palliser.
Hey, what's going on? It is Chris. It's another episode of the Solar PV Cast. Very excited to be joined by the president, El Presidente of the Victoria Electric Vehicle Association, the EV Club, Glenn Garry. Welcome to the Solar PV Cast, Glenn.
Hey, great to be here, Chris.
I mean, EVs and solar kind of go hand in hand, which is why we're having this conversation today. It kind of seems to happen in the industry. When someone gets an EV, they think, how can I power this EV on my own? And one thing they look to is solar, which is why I reached out. And thank you for joining the podcast today. Can you just give us a little background on the EV Club?
Right. Well, started off about when the time the Leaf came into town. Our past president, David Grove, he was one of the first 5 Leafs in Victoria.
Oh, wow.
So it started off as the Leaf Club. And then as more EVs came into it, it turned into the EV Club. And then in 2018, we decided to step up advocacy for electric vehicles and sustainable energy. And we became a society under the Societies Act, an association, and made it to Victoria EV Association. So probably doing this 10, 11 years now.
Wow. And the great thing about the club, as we've talked about before, is you're not just a group of guys that meet every Sunday and look at their EVs. You guys you're taking action.
Yes. We have we have great people working for us. We have all sorts of different committees. We work entirely on volunteer hours, right? Everybody does this as a labor of love. They put in far more effort than we could ever pay for, that's for sure. We have people who are retired chemical engineers, electrical engineers, people who've worked both in government and industry. We even have people from the entertainment industry who come in and help us, in fact, help be one of our major drivers.
Very cool. Any names?
Yeah. Jim Hinshaw.
So, oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I won't say why he's famous.
Google.
Yeah. But he's a real powerhouse for us and a real driving force. And it's been great. David, of course, and then our vice president, Heather Kellington, she comes from business. So we have some really great people. We have a great following, about 2,000 members. We keep the association free because that's what we're here for. We're not just talking cars. We're talking about how to make Canada better and leading from the West Coast.
I love that, and I love that. There's lots of bright minds leaning towards EVs, which is kind of a sign. Follow the bright minds, if you will. There's obviously something to EVs. Do you have to own an electric vehicle to be a member, or can someone who's just really into EVs but they can't quite afford it yet join in?
Oh, definitely. Anybody who's just keen to be on board, we welcome them. Open hearts. A lot of us, joined up when we still had ICE cars or hybrids. And anyone can join. Anybody who just has an interest in seeing a better future.
What kind of things are you guys in the club doing to kind of educate the masses, if you will, on EVs and the benefits of EVs and things like that, getting out in the community?
Yeah. So we do public engagement. We'll show up at a lot of different car shows during the year. We have our own our member meetings. We're on Zoom at least once a month. So we'll bring in interesting and educated people to come in and give presentations to our association, which then end up on our YouTube site. So everybody can see them from coast to coast to coast. We engage at all 3 levels of government, municipal, provincial, federal. We do that with advocacy, writing policy, and building programs so that they at least know where interested people and owners would like to see things going forward. We interact on we also interact with non-governmental groups, BC Sustainable Energy Association, like-minded people, and we also interact with EV associations across country. And that's mainly just sharing good ideas. What one group learns, we share online, and we help others out. BC is leading the country for sure. Quebec, not that far astern, but they stay pretty insular. But you can go to other parts of the country where it's like 2015 still. The public,
really?
the public and the politicians haven't yet caught up. They're on the right road. They've got very committed people who really want to see things happen, pushing. So we get out, we achieve all those things. Try to think what else we do. Oh, we like doing parades.
Oh,
so
nice.
the Christmas parade and all that.
Yeah.
We love putting in a group of vehicles. We try and stay representative. This year we had a Ford Transit van in there.
Maybe a Cybertruck next year's parade. Hey?
Oh, we keep pitching. We keep pitching, and Elon, if you're listening, we really need that help.
Yeah, right.
And we also do Eco-Night. We support, we sponsor a WHL game every year for the Victoria Royals, and in there we'll fill the concourse with electric vehicles, and then we'll have the last 2 years we had a Model Y playing "O Canada" for the crowd to sing to.
Love it.
And this year, the rear hatch came up and showed the Canadian flag. The crowd really loved that. And then we also do a parade during intermission. Parade, on ice parade. And Cliff McLean gets out there and he will say a little bit about each vehicle as it goes around.
Right on.
And that's kind of changed a lot. Over the years, it was kind of the crowd was not very receptive or a bit skeptical. And now they roll by and like, this is what's happening.
Right.
One of our star things we had this year was the City of Victoria. They've got themselves a Ford F-150 in the, I can't remember the actual name of the program, but it's meant to be a work truck.
Okay.
So all the frilly stuff is out of it.
I think Saanich did that as well, actually. They got a work truck as well. It's nice to see them all taking that step.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and all the people who do procurement across the country, they're all in their 30s and 40s, and they get it. They're switched on. They're trying to shift.
Pun intended.
Pun intended. Trying to shift their procurement going forward into electric vehicles because municipalities aren't hundreds of kilometers across. I mean, some municipalities are 30 square kilometers.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't have to be running huge distances, right?
Yeah.
Urban traffic, when you average it all out, is 33 kilometers an hour.
Totally.
So,
And it makes sense because they're all heading back to the municipality yard at the end of the day. Plug in and you're good to go for the next day.
Right.
How have you seen, you kind of touched on it. How have you seen and how exciting is it for you guys to see the amount of growth in EVs, even the last year, 2 years? My parents have a Leaf, and they just got a little EV smart car now. And how exciting is that for you guys, the OGs who were in it a long time ago before anyone was on board?
Yeah, well, it used to be you could drive around Victoria, and you could wave because you knew the other guy or girl driving the EV. And that has come along now, and nobody waves because there's just too many. You pull up to a traffic light, and there's, 3 EVs and going your direction. There's another one across the way. There's 2 more coming the other way. Yeah, it's been huge. Victoria has really taken it on. Vancouver, you can sit there and watch the traffic going by on the highway there and hold your breath between EVs. And a lot of times it's only 2 or 3 seconds between an EV. So you say, I'm gonna hold my breath between a particular type of EV.
Teslas.
Yeah. Oh, it might be 4 seconds, 5 seconds.
Yeah. I went there a couple weeks ago, and I had never seen so many Teslas before in my life. I was like, wow, okay, it's happening.
Yeah, and we, we as an organization, we promote all electric vehicles, because today's hero is tomorrow's dog. Hopefully today's dog survives to become a hero.
Right.
We just want to see more EVs on the road. But having said that, 75% of the EVs on the road in British Columbia are Teslas because they're available.
Right.
Right. So, yeah.
Let's get to the solar part of this. And I love on your website, you actually have narrowed down, you say, because, once you get the EV, once you get the electric car, you're like, okay, this is great. I can plug it in and use the grid power. Cool. But man, how cool would it be to power this by the sun? And on your website, you guys actually say, in terms of renewable energy, we promote solar.
Oh, indeed. I mean, it was one of the founding things we did when the group came online. We looked at the whole chain, how it could be better. And you're right, when somebody buys an electric vehicle and starts operating it, they look at other parts of their lives and go, do I really need to be burning something for that, for that weed whacker or that lawnmower? Do I really need to be burning methane, natural gas to heat my home? Can I make my house more resilient by having solar? And because BC, if you live in any urban area, you're getting you're getting your power through hydroelectricity, which is very clean.
I don't like the flooding aspect. That's just me.
Yeah, well, and there's...
We could go into that.
That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, exactly.
but I mean, the having solar on your roof means you're literally driving on sunshine. So
that's what I love about the relationship, though, honestly, is that there's passion with EV owners about what they're doing, and they're taking an active step in helping the environment or making a wise investment, however they look at it. And it's the same for solar, so they go so well together.
Oh yeah. So I live out in West Hills, Paradise Falls, and in my area of 120 homes, all of which are running on geothermal for heating. Ours was the first home that had an EV in there. There are now probably 30 or 40. Our shift helped me become the first person in Estrada to own my own solar installation on the roof.
Oh, very cool.
So it was the first in that area. And since then, I think 5 more have gone up, and there is a 6th one that's going to come on. It's just like, you're not old enough to remember, but I remember when the first, color TVs showed up. Oh, Bobby's dad down the road has one. And, within a few years, the technological curve kind of goes like that. Well, it's the same thing with electric vehicles and solar.
Yeah. I was chatting with Jeff Kendrew from the Vancouver Island Solar Facebook group, and he was saying he loves watching his neighborhood because all of a sudden an EV will show up, and then in a year or two, guess what's on the roof? Yeah. It just seems to be that natural progression. And again, it's all about that passion. We were talking before, you had some great numbers because you guys have you have a bit of a solar plan yourself, I think. Yeah,
well, our research group, again, really, really bright guys. We looked at getting solar into British Columbia, and the reason you do that is we have these terrific dams, which are legacy dams. They've been built for us. They're wonderful. They fill in 6 months of the year in our rain period, and then they not empty, but they get run down in the other 6 months of the year. Well, solar doesn't produce as much when our dams, which are British Columbia's battery, are filling, but they make a lot of energy when our battery could be running down. So we turned around and went, okay, let's look at gross numbers. If there are, looked up how many single-family homes were in British Columbia, about 900,000, rough number. If we took half of them and said, these ones could support solar, and you put 7 kilowatts in each one, and government turned around and gave a $10,000 grant to make that happen, which should cover off, half, 60%, whatever, of that installation.
And rebates right now, too. Knock that down. The loan as well, greener homes.
So $4.5 billion should produce 3.6 gigawatts of energy.
And that's about what Canada as a whole has installed right now.
Yeah.
We could just do that alone in BC.
Yeah.
Cheaper than that Site C?
Yes, definitely.
I feel like.
Well, so, my levelized cost of energy right now that I've calculated with the solar on my roof is 7 cents a kilowatt hour. The 30 years they're going to run, how much energy you're expecting to get, the initial capital outlay, and then how much energy, it comes to 7 cents.
Well, and the beautiful thing is that 7 cents is not changing for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think hydro in BC, we're lucky. It's 8 cents maybe a kilowatt hour. But, you go to...
Do you want to be exact? 9.4 for step 1.
9.4.
14 cents for step 2.
There it is, right there. So that makes the solar look even better. I mean, you look at, we also serve Nova Scotia, 16.5 cents, 16.2, and they're going up 7% this year and next year.
Yeah.
So the fact that your 7 cents doesn't change is just another reason to, and that's what you're powering your vehicle with.
Yeah.
7 cents a kilowatt hour.
And that's the crazy thing. People will, I won't say everybody, but there are people out there who go spend, $25,000 on a kitchen update. I spent 20 on an older house on a kitchen update, which is great. The house looked wonderful, and but that $20,000 you spent is worth less to the value of the home year after year. And after about a decade, is it worth 50%? Yeah, maybe. You put solar on your house, you go spend, let's be exorbitant, $20,000 to put it on your house. That is already paying you money, plus it is upfront a $20,000 improvement to the home because it doesn't go down in value.
Well, the kitchen gets outdated.
Yeah.
The power doesn't.
Yep. The power only gets more valuable.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing. And hydro can only stay 9.4 for so long, and soon it will continue up, but you'll still be driving around on 7 cents.
BC Utility Commission, they'll sit there and they'll try and protect the resource both, and it's great that we have it. Protect the resource both for the consumer and our Crown Corporation, BC Hydro, right? So you got to expect they're going to get a minimum of 3% a year. Not that it goes up like that. It's BC Utility Commission, so it kind of goes like this.
Right. Yeah.
It's stepped rather than sloped.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's I don't think there's a downside.
I was just gonna say, critical. We're obviously coming from solar and EV. We're obviously going to talk highly of them. Is there a critical question, a critical thinking when it comes to this? I can't find a whole lot. But EV. Somebody doesn't know. What are the downsides to an EV?
The downsides to an EV.
Is there?
Wow.
What about the battery? I mean, how long does a battery last in an EV?
Battery's going to last the lifetime of the vehicle.
Really?
Right. So the vehicles are set up. Your average ICE vehicle is off the road in 14 years. Right. It's dead. It's gone.
ICE being hybrid?
Oh, sorry, internal combustion engine.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're off the road in 14 years. As they live, they get less and less efficient on burning that energy. Right. So yeah, they're off the road in 14 years. An electric vehicle is expected to be on the road. I mean, the rest of the car might break up around it, but
just tires and brakes, really, right?
Well, not just tires.
Just tires.
Because the brakes aren't being used because the car regenerates back to the battery instead of using the friction brakes, right? So, the electric motors are good for 1 million kilometers. The battery is good for 800,000. Standard warranties are eight years and 160,000 kilometers. Jeez. And there's very few ICE cars on the road with a warranty that good.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Well,
yeah, and none of them will say that you're going to get the same fuel economy.
Yeah.
Year after year.
Totally.
Never.
I just got told I got to change my air filter to help my fuel economy or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So a downside, you could go through tires more quickly because they're way too much fun to accelerate in. And you know who you are out there who burns your tires too quickly.
I love it. I mean, we could keep going on and on for sure. Warranties jog my mind with solar. Shift has a 25-year production guarantee warranty.
Yeah.
So you got nothing to worry about for 25 years in terms of power production. And then with these great warranties and offers and on the vehicle.
Don't forget about the roof warranties.
Oh, yeah. Of course. All the warranties.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm in a Strata, so I had to be able to talk to my Strata about it and say, well, we're not sure about the roof and everything. I said, well, you know, the company guarantees any piercings of the roof.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not going to be the Strata's problem if there is a problem.
Worry-free.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. Solar and EVs, they go together hand in like peas and carrots, to borrow a line from Forrest Gump. 100%. Glenn, thanks for joining the Solar PV Cast. Like I said, we're going to have to continue this off air for sure when I become a member of the EV Club. I would love to join up and continue to promote solar and EV together. How can someone get a hold of the EV Club?
Right. Well, you can go to our website, which is VictoriaElectricVehicleAssociation.com.
Perfect. Check
Simple.
it out.
You get on there, you sign up. Again, it's free. You'll turn around, you'll get a weekly newsletter. It kind of tells you what's been happening in the world of EVs and energy. And when we do our monthly Zoom call or Zoom chat out, you can get on there and ask questions of the people we bring on, or even just ask questions of EV owners around. We also have a Facebook presence, and we're on Instagram.
TikTok?
We're not doing TikTok yet, but our social media maven, Victoria, she's got us on Instagram.
Perfect. So, I love it. Well, hey, Glenn, thanks for joining the Solar PV Cast today.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thanks, Chris.
The Solar PV Cast by Shift with Chris Palliser. To begin your solar journey, visit shift.ca.